English is not my first language. I speak much better English than before.
Yeah.
And also, it's not that it's not my first language. I'm just not good at trash talking. Some guys are just so good. Like, Chael Sonnen is amazing. Conor McGregor is amazing. I pick my fight very carefully. I cannot get into a war of words. I don't consider Bisping as a good trash talker. I think he's horrendous. I think he's terrible. He's not even good at trash talking. The only thing he's doing the best thing for me. He's the more he talks, the more he embarrasses himself. You know. So I don't really care. But some guys I like, for example, like Conor McGregor or Chael Sonnen, I would never be able to get into a war of word with them because they're just so good. But Michael Bisping, he thinks he's good, but he's terrible. You know, everything he says doesn't make sense. And the more he opens his mouth, the more he embarrasses himself. So for me, it's a good thing. Of cutting weight. I think I always prioritize my health over my performance. And by the way, I believe the new weigh-in in the morning before the fight, I think it's a bad thing because now guys they see it as an opportunity to cut more weight. So I think it's a bad thing. I told Dana when I saw him, I don't see it as a good thing. Wow. But anyway, I think they have to change it because one day someone will die. One day someone will die. It will affect all of us. It's very bad for your health. Should learn maybe from boxing. Maybe do a weigh-in the month before. Do a weigh-in the day before and the day of the fight, so you have a certain percentage of your mass that you cannot have, you know, and lose. So everybody will be on point, and there will not be any discrepancy of is he a lightweight, a middleweight, or you will fight at your weight. You know what I mean? One day someone will die. I mean, it's sad to say, but it's very bad. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous, and then long term, it's very bad for your body.
Well, look what happened with Khabib this weekend. I mean, that was a bummer, man. I was really looking forward to that fight with Khabib, and that weight cut hit him hard. So that's a bummer.
I believe the best Johnny Hendricks that I've seen is gone. When he fought John Fitch, Martin Kaufman, Carlos Condit, when he fought me, I think this Johnny Hendricks is gone. I didn't feel the same pop, the same explosiveness, the same... maybe he's going to prove it wrong at 185, maybe. But I feel he's not the same anymore. I guess we'll see what's going to happen next for him. If he bounces back like he was before, I believe he has the tools to go back to title contention for 185, you know? The only time I've been offered to fight Anderson Silva formally, like a real offer, was after my fight with Johnny Hendricks when I retired. But it's not because it was Anderson Silva. I would not have fought nobody. You would have put a midget of 3 foot tall. I would not even fought him. I wouldn't want to fight. I was tired. I needed to take time off. There is talk. We talk about Anderson Silva many times with Lorenzo and Dana. And what I wanted to do at the time, it was a big lineup of contenders in my division. And what I wanted to do, if I would have fought him at that time, because I had to defend my title too, I would have done a catch weight, 177 with Vada, because Vada USADA was not in place back then, and I wanted to do the Vada testing for performance enhancing drug, but they didn't like. I think the UFC didn't really like the idea at the time. But then after I had to fight other guys. After I blew up my ACL, then a lot of guys were waiting for me to come back. Then I didn't have a time to stop. I didn't have the opportunity to.
Well, I really want to see Yoel Romero get a shot at the title. He's waiting right now for this, what I think is an interesting fight between Michael Bisping and Georges St. Pierre. I think that's an interesting fight. I don't like it in terms of the hierarchy of the division. You know, I think that as far as the division goes, it's not good at all. I mean, it sort of hijacks the whole situation. I'm not concerned because there's great fighters and you get them together and you make great fights. I'm not concerned at that. But from a purist point of view, and from someone who feels like, look, if you're going to have a champion and you're going to have these divisions where one man rules over the division, there should be a very clear hierarchy. I mean, this was something that really bothered me about the Ronda Rousey-Amanda Nunes fight. I'm like, look, you're doing all these amazing promos. They're fantastic, but you're only highlighting this one fighter. You're only highlighting Ronda Rousey. Like, the other woman is the champion. She's the champion of the world. And that's a very important distinction. And that has to be respected. And if you have a champion and you have, you know, all these people that are waiting in line to get a shot at that champion, the person who is perceived to be the best in that division is the one who should be fighting the champion next. The champion should always be fighting the number one available challenger. Right now, that is Yoel Romero.
Yeah.
I get that George St. Pierre's come back, and I get that Michael Bisping feels like he deserves a big money fight, and I agree with him. Michael's had a long career in the UFC, and he's a great fighter, and against all odds, became the UFC middleweight champion on a very short notice. As a person who deeply respects the position of champion, I think if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna do this whole interim title thing, and you're gonna have guys come back after being out of the sport for 3 years and get a shot right at the title, why have championships at all?